name's Lee Caraher, and this is Everything Speaks, where we talk about how everything you do speaks for you if you want it to or not. And we have the goddess, the rock star, the fabulous Maggie Zeman back in the house today. Maggie, welcome to the pod.
Hello.
And
How is everyone?
We're going to talk about press releases. So I'm going to give a little preamble. So the press release has been dead. It's been alive. It's been upside down. It's been inside out. It's been online only by email. It's been only by wire, no wire, free wire, paid wire. I mean, oh my God. Let's first talk and where is it today? Because it is a format. It is a tactic. It is a vehicle to tell your news to the media and other people. That's press release. Announcement for the media. Another term we use is news release. Same thing. That you put in front of the media so that they can understand what's going on, so they can hopefully write about your story or include your story in another story. That is what it is. And there's all these rules on AP rules, meaning Associated Press rules, on what the formatting is, what the date. And there's a ton of stuff. There's just a lot of stuff around how to do a good press release. But over the last 20 years of Double Forte, we'll just talk about Double Forte time. The press release has really gone through incredible. I mean, if you looked at it, it would probably be battered up because it's been punched around so much, right? At this point in time. So, in our point of view at Double Forte is that the press release is a very useful, very important tactic, vehicle to tell a story. Maggie, why is that?
Well, I'll tell you, we were just, I think as a team, we were talking about this the other day, the little trifecta of challenges that are hitting communication professionals across the board, not just in wine or food or health and wellness, which is a lot of what we do at Double Forte, but high tech for sure. And that is that, one, your competition is heating up. You have a lot more competitors who are vying for the media's time. You also have fewer media in which to pitch, that you can pitch. You have a ton of freelancers. We've talked about that before, how long it takes. We love freelancers, but it takes a really long time for them to pull that through into a published story. So it's taking a lot longer to work with the media. And what we're finding is that, the press release, which is a tactic, generally speaking, in an overarching strategy for communications, is an effective tool for you to get your story out there. We've talked a million times about how important owned content is, having your own content and controlling your message. A press release is a really great way, or it's just one of the forms of owned content that you can be leveraging on behalf of your brand. But what a press release does is it allows you to touch your media audience. It allows you to promote momentum within your industry and with your competitors. And it also gives you an opportunity to promote data, which we've talked a lot about too. The importance of owning data and using data to tell your story and the reason why, as an example, why people need your brand, why they need that bottle of wine. And so we actually work with our clients to, you also have to be really careful. You can't put out a press release every week. You can't,
Yes.
That would be bad.
There used to be, so in technology, right? So both of us, Maggie and I both come out of Silicon Valley. We had a lot of experience working with startups in Silicon Valley where, what we need, and literally this is what we heard in the 90s and the aughts, we need a press release a week. We're going to have a drumbeat of press releases. And we'd be making shit up all the time just to have this drumbeat of press releases, right? You don't need a drumbeat of press releases. You need a cadence of news. There's a difference. A cadence of news versus a drumbeat of press releases. And news, what is news? News actually stands for North, East, West, South. It actually doesn't stand for it. That's what it stands for. And it is what is new in the North. I mean, we could talk about that for a long time. But what is new in the North, East, West, and South? That is what it basically stands for. So what is new versus what's important are also two different things. Like, I'm wearing a green top today. That is not news. Unless I was allergic to green beforehand and now I can wear it. That is news. This is not news that I'm wearing green. I'm Irish. I wear green all the time. So what is newsworthy is more about your audience than it is about yourself. And then what is newsworthy to other people is where we want to use the press release. Press releases, news releases, versus other owned content. You can do a lot of information sharing on other owned content that you would not necessarily put into a press release because it is not new.
Correct.
Right? Or it's not, milestones is probably the best way to think about, when you have a material milestone is when you want to use a press release. A new product, new number, how many people you serve, whatever it is. What are those business milestones? Because this is how public relations and communications ladders back up to the business. What are the business milestones that will indicate your KPIs, key performance indicators, that you're achieving your goals? When you think about those milestones, line up your news releases, and then let your person tell you, meaning your trusted communications advisor, tell you if it's worth it or not. Or maybe it's only worth it to one person, still worth it. But that thinking about when to use it. The other piece is please don't use ChatGPT to write a press release right now.
Right.
It's terrible. They're terrible. And not every press release is equal. You need to have a really well done press release to break through. And then you choose how to distribute it, right?
Right.
You write it, then you distribute it. So a really well done one. And I think right now we are tending to send longer press releases today than we did 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
And the reason we're sending longer press releases today is because the media doesn't have time. Used to say just the who, what, where, when. Give me a call for more context, basically, or we'd pitch more part of the story. And now you can't rely on that to happen. You need to put more into your press release so that it reads more like an article. Not that you wouldn't have done that before, but more context, more story, more good stuff in the press releases. So we're leaning towards longer press releases that tell more of the story because we know the media doesn't have time. And we can tell you from Double Forte is that our press releases are getting bigger pickup. Our longer, well-written, data-backed up story press releases are getting more pickup and more distribution than other vehicles, than shorter press releases with only the data. We know this. This is fact. So, Maggie, you can either send out the press release by email. You can write it, a press release undistributed is not a press release, period.
That's right.
If you don't share it, it doesn't exist. Much like the tree that falls in the forest when no one's around.
That's right.
So let's talk about the different ways of distributing press releases.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think that what we do is when we're working with our clients is we assess, first and foremost, to your point, Lee, is it newsworthy? Is this something that the world needs to know about? Or is this a really cool line extension at a time when the brand's been relatively quiet and we want to let the trades know that you guys are pushing hard and doing interesting things with your line, with your brand? So first and foremost, it's important to have that conversation and realize, is this really newsworthy? Is it a launch?
And to whom, right? Who's it interested?
Who are the audiences?
Who are the audiences? Because you might have a press release that's really only for 3 publications.
Right.
You might have a press release that you want, ABC News to cover across all of its stations. I mean, it would be, your thought process is in what is the news you have, why is it relevant to whom,
Mm-hmm.
and then how to get it there so
And
they
how to get
understand
it there.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're talking about a launch situation, then, the press release becomes the vehicle for the strategy, right? So, the last thing that we do is we put that press release on Business Wire, at a very specific time in the early wee hours of the morning on the East Coast so that we're driving that pickup. And it has all of the elements that Lee just described. It has the data, it has the reason why, it has the news up front, it has everything that you need to drive the news and the story that we want to tell. So that's the last thing that we do for the most part. In a launch situation, then you bring into account how are you going to use that press release to extend the conversation and to be strategic with certain audiences that you want to go to. So if you need to let the trade know first, it's a consumer-focused press release launching a new brand, and it's in the brand voice. So it's a little more lifestyle focused. It's really important then that you think about the trade audience that you need to get to in advance of that press release going on the wire. And then in that pile of peeps, you want to be thinking about who is the number one person that we potentially could take this news to for what we call in the industry an exclusive. So who is there reason to do this? And there are you have to really ask yourself the question, because when you do an exclusive, you're giving the news to one person first. And so understanding the reasons why that's important to this particular launch is really important. Maybe it's someone that you know and you trust, and that you know that they will tell the story the right way and get the news out there. And then that will make that will give the other media a little push to cover the news because they've seen it in this one publication. There's a lot of different reasons. Maybe you want to build a relationship with this editor that you've never met before. And you just, this might be one way to start doing that. So there's
cautious and careful, because, if you've had a great relationship with one reporter over a long period of time and they have been, respectful and professional with you, and you don't give them the opportunity, you don't want to kill a relationship that you already have to sacrifice it. At the same time, it's very useful in many situations. Also, we just had this conversation with a client the other day. Well, let's get this as an exclusive. And we're like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is not worth an exclusive.
Right.
We'll, just giving exclusive is not going to convince these people to write about you. We need to give them something totally different than this if they're going to do something exclusive with you, because it's not worth the time it takes. And we know it won't translate into what they want.
Right.
Everybody wants the one big, huge profile. It's not a press release. It's not another way to do it.
No, that's right. And, and then, the other thing about the press release is that, you can slide into that timeline the opportunity to get the press release via email to your trades and to the business media before it goes, or as it's hitting the wire. So they do get it in advance, and they can put it up. So then is showing up where your industry is.
Yeah.
Because especially in wine, you want distributors to read the news. You want buyers to read the news. You want your customers in the pipeline to read the news. And you want your competitors to see you might be first on the mark in a low alc product or a new packaged goods or something like that. And then it goes on the wire, and then you are free and clear running like crazy with all of your consumer media.
Let's talk quickly about some different options, right? So we use Business Wire. We've had a long relationship with Business Wire. We're very happy with their distribution. We're very happy with the service they give, because there is a process you got to go through to get this thing on business. I mean, they have a lot of checks and balances because publicly traded companies have to release their information on a paid wire.
Right.
There's PR Newswire, also a great company. Some of our clients use PR Newswire. We use both, but I think our contract is with Business Wire.
Business Wire, yeah.
And then there's other services. I get so many emails. You could put your press release on the wire for free. Don't bother. I'm just telling you, do not bother. It is not going to give you the reach. It is worth $1,000. It's worth whatever it is to send
2,000 almost, depending.
Depending, right? If you're going national, I mean, there's all different ways to parse this out. You can go national wire, you can go California wire, you can go Wisconsin wire, you can go state wire. There's all different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But don't bother with the free ones because we've tried them all and they do not work. It's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle that you have to go through and you'll be disappointed. So what business, basically because of the internet, because of the speed of light, the syndication that you get out of the paid services is, we see it all the time. We see it. It pays off. Is it always the right place to be syndicated to? No, don't worry about it. Because your PR professional is going to worry about where, getting it into the right places at the right time and all that kind of stuff. And then the paid wire makes sure that when people Google anything, that it shows up. And that's what you need. Where that is the whole point. Public relations is the practice of driving awareness and reputation and trust over the long haul. And the press release is a great format to be able to put all your information, your context, and all that kind of stuff in the right format so that reporters can read it and they can adopt it. And then how you distribute it plays into how much, how you distribute it matters in terms of where does it go and who picks it up.
You know what else, Lee? You just touched on something that's so important. That is SEO. The importance of the language that you use when you're writing your press release in the headline. Headlines are everything. And in the first paragraph. And to Lee's point, when you put it on the wire and you Google, then especially if you're using the right SEO language, keywords. This is the one of the number one reasons why press releases are so incredibly valuable. Is the longevity. And, right now, if you do a search on your brand and you haven't done anything on the wire, you might be 5 brands down below the fold and no one's heard of you. Put a really smart press release together that launches your company and your product and uses the right keywords. You will push yourself way up the ladder.
We're not saying to jam pack your press release with keywords.
No.
Don't do that. You want your headline 70 characters or less. So a friend of mine sent a press release that a long story, her agency did. She sent it to me. The headline was 3 lines long, Maggie. Initial caps, small type. So it was probably, it was
the first paragraph as a headline.
It was the first paragraph. I'm like, this is.
Because first paragraph should be no longer than 5 sentences.
Right. Not even, 5 lines max. When you're looking at,
this
is where I go nuts, right? When I see a press release that goes over 5 lines, I'm like, why is this more than 5 lines?
So not 5 sentences.
5 lines.
Very true. Oh my God. So true.
God. I am a nutball on this topic.
No.
Why is this more than 5 lines?
The nuance matters.
The nuance matters. So 70 characters using, can we just talk about quotes for a second? Can we just please, for the love of God, stop doing the quotes and say, we're very happy to welcome. Oh my God, what a throwaway. We're space.
So excited.
We're so excited. Oh, please. No. Here's your opportunity to position. Basically, quotes are opinion. Facts do not belong in quotes. Facts belong outside of quotes. Quotes are opinion and context to bring life to the facts.
Context is the best way to put it in my mind.
What a waste of effort to say, we are pleased. Of course you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be announcing it. I'm just saying. Just saying. And if you're paying by word for these press releases, don't waste your money on we are pleased.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I may have a strong opinion about this.
Yeah, that's a pet peeve.
Pet peeve. Well, also, it's ineffective. Other than
that,
yes. You go ahead and look. If you go into Business Wire or PR Newswire and looked at the last 100 press releases, it just went out as soon as you do this, because there are press releases go out every single moment of the day. 99% of them suck. And so how do you be that 1% that is really good? So that when your name is something, oh yeah, I want to read that, because that's what we build reputation on, the fact that our work is good and people do that. And we're working with a small client here in Wisconsin. They're not using a wire service because the media is in this very specific geography. We know everybody in this geography. It's not going to get us any more in this region, blah, blah, blah. But in this region where we're doing this work, all these television stations post our press releases up on their television stations. This does not. This only happens in tertiary markets. Doesn't happen in secondary or primary markets. So know your market, right? But I can say we're writing because the issue is very complicated. These releases are pretty long, and instead of bothering to truncate them, they're actually putting them into online, the whole thing. So that people, which is a problem for the person whose name is on it, because they're getting a lot of customer calls. But at the same time, they don't, this is not normal practice. But what we've heard is that, thank you so much for these long explanation that you're giving us, because it's a really hard topic. We're just going to post a press release. Like, okay, next time we send it, let's send it without the name. So knowing your market, right? And when you can be the one who provides the best information, the best context, the best, here's why to understand this, you're going to win long term. It's a long game. Like I just said, it's a long game. Yeah.
But the media, they get it. Yeah. I need more information. I need to talk to them.
Every time. Another thing you can do for the press release is, particularly when you don't have people available, right? So, often all of our clients are so freaking busy. They're like, I don't know, I can maybe give half an hour for an interview. Do the FAQ ahead of time that you don't share, so that you have answers to the media that are approved by your client ahead of time, and you can just provide them. Like, we know we're going to have 10 questions on XYZ PDQ. Let's get ready for them, so that we can provide an answer from your voice, approved from Sally's voice, immediately. And in many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, that will do the job, so that every reporter has something different.
Yep.
Which is also their job, is to get a different story every single time.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot to know, but mostly you need to know the press release is alive and well. A well-written press release is worth its weight in gold. Use the paid services. There's several of them, because they provide the air cover and the syndication services that big publications, big news sources like, and provide, to Maggie's point, the longevity for SEO.
Yes.
Because why do they provide the longevity? Is because they have so much UVM. Their UVM is so high that it rises it up. And don't use ChatGPT to write your press releases.
Ever.
One of the biggest reasons not to use ChatGPT, not that ChatGPT doesn't give you good ideas, because it can give you a good structure.
It's a great brainstorming
brainstorming tool. However, media, the first thing they do is they put it through a ChatGPT or an AI detector. And if it comes from AI, they will refuse to use it, because AI is putting their own business at risk. So don't be respectful.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't even go there.
Seriously, I didn't realize I was so animated this topic, Maggie. I'm clearly
I know. I'm telling
animated.
You, it's just a little press release. It's like,
oh my God.
Like, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Remember those? Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, Schoolhouse Rock could come back right now. We could use a little bit of I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Just saying. But I digress.
I aged myself out on that one, people.
Oh my God. So
But
the
yeah,
press release, use it wisely, use it well, use it when it's necessary. When is it necessary? When you want to tell a story that is material.
yeah,
What's material to you may not be what's material to somebody else. It also then helps ground. Here's the other thing about a press release. Sorry, we're going to keep going for 2 seconds. The press release is often, and PR people in general are often the place where lots of decisions get made. Because, we go out, we're given information, we ask questions. We're like, here's our form, fill out this form. We'll do the thing, what's the key points? Well, we write a press release. Then we send it. It never just goes to one person. It usually goes to 5 or 6 people. And this may be the first time those 5 or 6 people have seen the positioning that somebody gave us. And there's often a long conversation with the client, different people about, well, I didn't know about that. Literally. I had no idea this was happening. What's going on here? Why do I have to, So often we act as the place where news is and information is agreed upon for our clients.
Yep.
And it's a great tool for communication internally as well.
Well, I think to that point, listen, back in the days of Silicon Valley, it was not uncommon for the EVP of marketing to march down the hall and say, I need a press release in a half an hour.
How about the president? When I sat, so at Sega, for part of my time, I sat on the executive side, and then they were like, we don't want that loud person over here. But for about 1.5 years, I sat like 2 doors down from the CEO. Oh my God. And then I was like, can you please move me? Make it harder for them to get to me.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And then, it's like, okay, well, it's an internal press release. It's what we used to call momentum press releases. We can, as long as he approves it, we can do whatever we want. As dealing
I already know it's going to happen.
Just saying.
Who the hell approved this? Joe. Joe approved it. Oh,
I know. Oh my God. And it's like when you're in that situation, you have 2 people internally who don't agree on the message. And then basically sparks will fly.
All the time. We are forcing understanding. We're forcing messaging. We're forcing agreement to move things forward because we can't do anything until someone signs off on it.
That's right.
Right.
So to that end, we generally speaking, like to give our clients, a 2-week window because they've got to pass it around. They said, we don't need that. We can go next week. Oh no, the minute you pass the draft off to your colleague, it's back to the drawing board.
Oh my God, we just had this conversation with a different client, Mags. Like, I don't think we need 2 weeks. I said, and the woman who runs this account, she said, she doesn't think we need 2 weeks. I said, would you please go back and tell her how long it took for the last 3?
Yeah.
And how 2 weeks was not enough time for 2 of the last 3,
Yeah, trust us.
Just because you want it doesn't mean it's true.
That's right. That's so true.
My gosh. Anyway, press release, good.
Yes. We're here to help.
Good press release, better. Well, distributed press release, best.
Yes. Well said. You should have just said that at the beginning.
And we'd be done. Instead of people listening to also. Well, I have to imagine that someone's laughing through this conversation.
Yes.
Maybe his name is Dan. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, listener. Thanks for listening. Listener 1. Oh my God.
Am I right, Dan? Am I right?
Am I right? Dan, am I right? Oh my gosh. This would be the one thing he doesn't listen to. Anyway.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Maggie. Really appreciate it. Another animated conversation with Lee and Maggie. You can tell that we really care about this stuff.
That's true. Maybe a little too much.
Maybe a little too much today. Anyway, until next time, I'm Lee Caraher, and this is Everything Speaks.